Hi, I'm Maya from Book from Dreams and welcome to a new video. Today I want to talk about popular fantasy authors whose books I haven't read but I really want to try. I made a list of about 10 or so authors and I picked one book that was already on my Goodreads TBR but I just never got around to it. So the first author I want to talk about is Sabata Tahir and her book An Ember in the Ashes, and I'm going to read you the Goodreads summary because it kind of, when I was working on this video, it was kind of late at night, and I just didn't have the energy to summarize and shorten the summary. So I'm just going to read you what it says on Goodreads about this book. So this is book one in a series called An Ember in the Ashes series, and the reason I got interested in this book because recently the World Hoppers had a video about, I think, their favorite books of 2021 so far. I'll leave you the link somewhere here and down below. And when they described it, it sounded very interesting. So this book is about, we follow two characters, Leia, Laia, and Elias. So Laia is a slave, Elias is a soldier. Neither is free. Under the martial empire, defiance is met with death. Those who do not vow their blood and bodies to the emperor risk the execution of their loved ones and the destruction of all they hold dear. In this brutal world inspired by ancient Rome, that's interesting, that Laia lives with her grandparents and her older brother. The family ekes out an existence in the empire's impoverished backstreets. They do not challenge the empire. They see what happens to those who do. But when Laia's brother is arrested for treason, Laia is forced to make a decision. In exchange for help from rebels who promise to rescue her brother, she will risk her life to spy for them from within the empire's greatest military academy. There, Laia meets Elias, the school's finest soldier, and secretly is most unwilling. Elias wants only to be free of the tyranny he's being trained to enforce. He and Laia will soon realize that their destinies are intertwined and that their choices will change the fate of the empire itself. That sounds very interesting. The next author I want to talk about is John Gwynne. And John Gwynne writes epic fantasy stories. He has two series out, one already finished and one that he started. And I think the first one is inspired by Norse mythology, or is the other one Vikings something? I don't know. Anyway, he's very popular, but everybody has been reading him lately. So I've been tempted, but his books are humongous, and I'm just not feeling humongous books right now. So I'm just going to tell you what Malice is about. This is the book that's on my Goodreads TBR. A black sun is rising. Young Corbin watches enviously as boys become warriors under King Brenin's rule, learning the art of war. He yearns to wield his sword and spear to protect his king's realm, but that day will come all too soon. Only when he loses those he loves will he learn the true price of courage. The Banished Lands has a violent past where armies of men and giants clashed shields in battle, the earth running dark with their heart's blood. Although the giant clans were broken in ages past, their ruined fortress still scarred the land. But now giants stir anew, and very stones weep blood, and there are sightings of giant worms. Jesus, okay. Those who can still read the signs see a threat far greater than the ancient wars. Sorrow will darken the world as angels and demons make it their battlefield. Then there will be a war to end all wars. That sounds so cool. But still, this book, oh my god, has 672 pages. Oh lord. It sounds very interesting. So, High King Aquilus summons his fellow kings to council, seeking an alliance in this time of need. Some are skeptical, fighting their own border skirmishes against pirates and giants. But prophecy indicates darkness and light will demand two champions, the Black Sun and the Bright Star. They would be wise to seek out both, for if the Black Sun gains ascendancy, mankind's hopes and dreams will fall to dust. Yeah, that sounds fantastic. So, yeah, that might, put the book up on my TBR list, on the top. The next author I want to talk about is a bit of a cheat because I read one book from him, and that is Joe Abercrombie. And from him I read Half a King, which is, I think it's like YA fantasy. But the books I really want to start, and I just never do, is his First Law series that has like 3 trilogies already that are part of the whole world. So basically the first book in this series is The Blade itself, in which we follow 3 characters. The first one is Logan Ninefingers, who is like an infamous barbarian. Then we have some nobleman captain, Luthar, I think, who is like a dashing officer who basically, I guess, doesn't want to go to war or something. And we follow an inquisitor called Glodka, and he is a cripple turned torturer, and their lives are now going to be intertwined and complicated by some wizard dude named, okay, Baez. I don't know. I'll have to listen to the audiobook to see how this is pronounced. But Joe Abercrombie is a very popular author on YouTube, and it's just, he apparently writes very fantastic grim dark fantasy, and I just really want to get into it. So the next author I want to talk to you about is Brent Weeks and his book, The Black Prism. This is book 1 in his Lightbringer series. Now, as you can probably tell, I already have tabs here and here. I started it, but I didn't get very far. I got to page 21. So a couple of years ago, I think, Elliot Brooks from the channel, and her channel, Elliot Brooks, I will leave it down below, had read along for this book. So we had like a month to read this one, and I tabbed out the parts that she had, like she had divided the book into 4 parts, like so you read about like 200 pages each month or something. And yeah, I didn't get very far, but I do want to get into this book. I know Elliot did not like it, but I don't know, I want to read by myself, for myself, and to see whether I would enjoy it, because it sounds very interesting. So basically, this is an action-packed tale of magic and adventure. So Guile is the Prism, the most powerful man in the world. He is a high priest and emperor, and a man whose power, wit, and charm are all that preserve a tenuous peace. So, yet prisms never last, and Guile knows exactly how long he has left to live. While Guile discovers he has a son born in a far kingdom after the war that put him in power, he must decide how much he's willing to pay to protect a secret that could tear his world apart. So that's pretty much it for the summary. But yeah, it sounds interesting. The world built, the magic in this world also sounds interesting because it's all connected to light and everything. But yeah, at some point looking forward to getting to this one. Another author whose book I already have is Anthony Ryan, and this is the book called Blood Song. So basically, in this book, we follow this dude. So, Vaylin Alsorna is the 6th Order's newest recruit. Under their brutal training regime, he learns how to forge a blade, survive the wilds, and kill a man quickly. And quietly, all in the name of protecting the realm of the faith and the faith. Now his skills will be put to the test. War is coming. He has to draw upon his very essence and his strength and cunning if he is to survive the coming conflict. Yet, as the world teeters on the edge of chaos, Vaylin will learn that the truth can cut deeper than any sword. Apparently, another thing that happens here, because when I saw the book and I read the summary, I bought it a bunch of years ago, but in the last couple of years, I think it was either Sam from Thoughts on Tomes. She had this sort of list of like romantic characters in fantasy books, and she mentioned this book because I think there's a very interesting romance happening. It's a slow burn and everything, so I'm looking forward to that as well. And another author whose book I have. Now this is the thing. I was confused Peter V. Brent with Brent Weeks because first of all I thought they were the same guy. So I was like, that's weird. Like, why do I have the same person on my list twice? But 2 different authors. So this is his book, The Painted Man. Another version of this title is The Warded Man. This is book 1 in the Demon Cycle series. And in this one, as darkness falls, the demon rises. Okay. For hundreds of years, these creatures have terrorized the night, slowly culling the human population. It was not always this way. Men and women did not always cover behind protective magical wards and hope to see the dawn. Once they battled the demons on equal terms, but those days and skills are gone. Arlen Bales lives with his parents on their isolated farmstead until a demon attack shatters their world. He learns a savage lesson that day, that people as well as magic can let you down. Rejecting the fear that kills as efficiently as the creatures, Arlen risks another path in order to offer humanity at least a fleeting chance of survival. That sounds very interesting. But anyway, as you could probably tell, most of these were like cover buys, because I don't know if you can tell, dude has tattoos on his face, and look how awesome this dude looks. How cool is that? Well, the next author I want to talk to you about is Mark Lawrence. I haven't read anything by Mark Lawrence yet, even though I bought Red Sister a bunch of years ago. I don't have it here with me because it's at my sister's house. It has been for the last couple of years. Anyway, Red Sister is about assassin nuns. And we follow Nonna Gray, who has been somehow appeared. I think they bought her or something. She was covered in blood and everything. They brought her to this convent of Sweet Mercy, where she now learns how to be a deadly assassin. And basically, I guess in the first one, she's learning how to be an assassin and trying, or already has learned, and she's trying to deal with the violence of her past. Well, you know, I always like a good assassin story with hopefully some assassinating in the story as well. But you know, assassin nuns is an interesting concept that definitely deserves some attention. The next author I want to talk to you about is Fonda Lee. She wrote Jade City. Jade City is a booktube darling. A lot of people have read it and a lot of people have loved it. It's been on my TBR since it came out, but I just never seem to get around to it. So basically in this book, this is like a Godfather thing, where we follow different crime syndicates. We follow like one crime syndicate and like its relationship to other crime syndicates in this island that they rule over. And the island is special because on it they either manufacture or mine this jade that when you ingest it, it gives you like, if you are like a specific person, it gives you like superpowers. So basically, in the first one, the tensions between the rival crime syndicates rises and then turns into open war, and we follow sort of the a couple of generations of the, what was the name, the Cowell family, and how they're dealing with the current situation. So basically, the war will determine the fate of all the crime families on the island they rule. So it sounds very interesting, and there's also a sequel already out, and I really have to put it on my TBR soon because I have to read it, and it sounds very interesting. And we are down to the two last authors. The first one being R.F. Quang and her Poppy War. I mean, a lot of people have been enjoying this book, and I started it once on audiobook, but the narrator was, literally listened to 30 seconds and I stopped because the narrator was too dramatic for me. Like you can tell immediately in the beginning, and I just stopped, and I didn't want to get to it because like I can't. So I have to read it. Now the problem is I'm having a lot of trouble lately concentrating on actually reading things because I'm very used to now audiobooks and doing things while I'm listening to audiobooks. So I think I need to be in a specific frame of mind to read something like that. And it's also a very heavy book. So this is an epic military fantasy inspired by the bloody history of China in the 12th century. And it is filled with treachery and magic. And we follow a war orphan Rin, who somehow aces a test that gets her into the highest ranking military school in her land. And basically the first book deals with her surviving the school because she also, I think she discovers like a secret power inside herself. And basically, as I said, the first book follows her throughout her schooling and preparing for war, which I think happens in the second one. And there's also a third one, which I don't know what happens in that one. But yeah, I have to read the first one first. But I'm looking forward to it because it sounds very interesting. I mean, there were some mixed feelings on this one because apparently the Rin, our main character, is not likable at all or something. I don't know. I'll read it and I'll see what I think. But I'm looking forward to that one. And the last author I want to talk to you about is Rob J. Hayes. Now, I learned about Rob J. Hayes through Kitty from Kitty G. She's one of the judges in the self-published blog of, there's an F somewhere, fantasy blog of, so basically Mark Lawrence. has not a competition, I guess a competition, where self-published fantasy authors can submit their books, and their books are sort of picked to have like, I think 30 of them or even more, no, 300 of them, because there are 30 judges. So a bunch of books go out to judges, and then the judges read the books, and they pick like their 10 favorites, and then everybody reads the other books, and then you pick the number one. So this has been going on for like over 5 years, I think. So that's where I learned about Rob J. Hayes. Now, the book I want to talk to you about is Never Die, because the first one I picked was Where Loyalties Lie, but that turned out to be like a sequel of a set in a world that's already established. So after the first trilogy that he wrote this one. So you were supposed to read the first trilogy to read this one, so I can't talk about that one. But I can talk about Never Die, which is like a book in a new world that he's created. So basically we follow a kid named Ain. He's 8 years old, and the god of death gave him a mission to kill the immortal ruler of his land. And to do that, he has to enlist the figures and names of legend that are in his world. You know, people called the Whispering Blade, Flaming Fist, and so on. I think it's Iron God is one of them as well. So basically, he has to find them and use something that the god of death gave him to, I don't want to say make them help him. But the catch is they all have to die first. So yeah, that sounds very interesting, and I'm very interested in this book, but also interested in his previous works as well. Anyway, so this is my list of 10 or so fantasy authors that are very popular and I haven't read anything by. If you've read any of their books, please do let me know down below. If you want to add people to the list, please, you can do so in the comments down below. There are some important links and stuff in the description box, so please do check it out. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, like this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.